Okay, you're live.
Okay. Sir, me again. I have two last questions. Being a mechanical engineer, um, do you think we need to amend the Clean Air Act?
The Clean Air Act. The Clean Air Act. Well, I was part of the Senate that passed it. It was Senator Robert Jaworski, and it was put together by a lot of us, including Raul Rocco.
Okay.
So the Clean Air Act basically provides that we have to practice certain environmental concerns, particularly on pollution. We want to use energy coming from not only coal but more so on renewable energy like hydropower and the like, even solar power, which is quite expensive, and wind power, which is now becoming more cost effective, like the ones in northern Luzon. So right now, I think the best way is to just look at the law, the implementing rules and regulations, and try to tweak it. Tweak it, because if we keep on amending, it might become even more difficult because there are external factors like lobbyists and other inputs that might weaken the law.
Okay. But when
If
you
the
tweak
law
it,
is
it's also the same as.
if the law is good enough, this was about 10 years ago or so, it should, the executive, the implementing arms like Department of Energy, local government, NEDA, would be able to work within the law to attain certain good standards. But if there are specifics to amend, then of course we'll amend.
Okay. So when you say to clean, because I have this impression that when you try to change it in a way, no matter how small or how big the changes are,
Yeah,
it's
no
going to
matter
be
how small or how big, it might get better, but it might get worse because there are lobbyists, there are certain interests that might weaken it or strengthen it. So it's basically executive function to really make it what it intends to do for our clean future,
so next.
clean air act.
Okay. And then last question. What do you look? What qualities do you look for in public officials?
In,
Public officials.
sorry,
Public officials.
public official. Well, a public official should be a public servant. So he is not there to make himself wealthier or more influential or powerful. He's there to basically serve while his term is there. A public official should lead by example. As the president says, walang wangwang, no? And he tries to follow it. I think public office is a public trust, as mentioned by one late president. And you are there not to entrench yourself and put all your relatives and friends and kamag-anak to become a dynasty. You're there just to help out. And after you go, maybe a son or a daughter comes in after a while. That's all right. But while you're there, you should try to set the example of generosity, public welfare, helping the whole society to improve itself, and to just keep helping, keep improving our social structure, social and economic, of course. Menchi.
Morning
Again, sir.
Morning.
Introduce yourself. You did already.
Yeah. In fact, I used to work for you under your cousin.
Sino?
Tito.
Tito Katindig? Oh.
Tapos, I coordinated with Sally. Bali, I handled some of your projects for DepEd.
Deped.
That time.
I see.
During your
First
last
term maybe, no?
Yeah, last term.
Last term.
When she's also a blogger, mom blogger, kaya lang retired from that kind of work.
Back
Kaya
in
medyo
Congress.
Ah, yeah.
Senator
Ben,
Hindi.
I
yeah.
went back to Congress.
Ano? Ben.
Malayo na kasi yung Senate sa House ko. Anyway, sir, ano pong update do sa plunder case on Jokjok Volante? The fertilizers now.
The case is now in the Sandigan Bayan. It's been there for almost a year and a half. So to date, we are expecting the Sandigan Bayan to make its decision. So it would be good if bloggers and social networkers, media, will put more emphasis, because the tendency is to just wait it out, because it's a complex case. It involves so many congressmen and governors, no? And of course DA Secretary. Well, GMA embedded Mr. Volante into the DA their first month in office. Kasi she was the first acting Secretary of Agriculture when she became president after EDSA 2. So she was the one who embedded. So maybe she didn't know that he's that kind of guy, but eventually he turned out to be that kind of guy of the fertilizer fund scam. No? So
hopefully we'll
we
get
expect that anytime now. If the Sandigan Bayan does not decide soon, it's a signal to the others in other agencies that crime does pay. Nandun pa yung mga recalcitrants who caused it. So it's a signal that, oh, I can get away with it. It's been 9 years. This is 2005, huh? It's almost 9 years.
Wow.
And where is he now?
Mr. Volante, I think, is still in town. Wala naman arrest order sa kanya. Just hold
Wala
departure.
naman pong hospital arrest Baka naka-hospital arrest din siya. Just
Well, when he arrived here, he was in a stretcher.
Ah, yeah.
But now he's playing golf.
He what?
Playing
Sorry,
golf.
playing golf.
You have any follow-up question?
Yun lang ang concern ko siya.
Okay naman, Iya, kami.
Ah, sige.
Bilang estudyante pa po, sa edukasyon po, marami po kasi sa mga pampublikong paaralan, katulad po sa pinanggalingan po ng high school, ang nagpapatupad po ng shifting schedules. Minsan po, umaabot pa po ng alas 8 ng gabi yung mga klase. Tapos ang pasok naman po, alas 6 din ng umaga, may mga ganun po. Kung mananalo po kayo ulit sa pagkasenador, ano po ang maimumukhahi po para po hindi na po gabihin sa paaralan yung mga estudyante. Lalo po ngayon, delikado po ngayon sa gabi. May
Peace and
mahalin
order.
cases po na nangyayari dahil po sa mga ganun.
Totoo yan,
Opo.
Iya. Well, number one, we keep on decongesting classrooms, no?
Opo.
Pero sa rami ng populasyon natin, sa rami ng kabataan, talagang overloaded.
Opo.
So to me, we can give cash vouchers to those families who want their children to go to private schools. Meron mga private schools, grade school, high school. Well, college, take over na yung mga public universities, no? State colleges, SCUs. Pero one thing that we're looking at is the internet as a good way to supplement classroom education. The internet generation in the US, even California, the state of California, nagkaroon na ng planning sila. Actually, being done for online education. Yung mga basic education courses
Sure.
will supplement classroom. So parang just to decongest classrooms, siguro yung part of you're looking at grade school,
Para
high school, college, part of your courses can be developed online and you can access. So instead of going to school up to 8 p.m., you're given 2 shifts siguro. Merong 6 to 2, and then haba naman yan. Ilan hours ba school? 8 to 3 usually, no? Let's say 7 to 2 and then 2 to 8. Pero baka 1/3 of that or 2 hours less of a 6-hour day, 1 or 2 hours, online.
Ay, paano
Pagpasok
yan,
doon,
sir?
discussion na lang.
Karamihan naman po sa mga nasa public school, wala po silang nasa internet.
Yan ang ating one. It must be a national commitment. Dahil sa some schools like St. Paul's, saka Lasal, I know about Lasal, St. Paul's, nag-commit na sila na Wi-Fi in the school. Let's say in Lasal Green Hills. Of course, mahal yun, no? But it's, again, it's resources. So let's say you have a grade school in Ormoc, Leyte, a small barangay. The Wi-Fi that will go to the school will be delivered by a telco company or a cable TV company, and it will be funded. Siyempre, there's no such thing as free. Merong cost yan eh. Ginagawa namin sa Ayala Foundation yan, yung DLAS program ni Vicky Garcia-Torena, no? We were funding them from the Senate, and they were putting internet access in 3rd and 4th year high schools, public, 10 years yan. I think umabot ng 5,000 high schools, so, junior, senior. Pero ngayon kailangan ng grade school na rin, elementary. So, the local government, the DepEd and barangay should share. Now, what is the cost? Yung ginagawa namin yun, I think the first year we were paying 5,000 a month for so many megabits, no? Let's say 5,000 will give you siguro mga 5 megabits na yun. O 5 megabits. So you go to elementary school or high school, that compound will get 5 megabits per second. Ganda na yun, no? Bilis na yan, di ba? Actually, you need only 56 kilobits per second for just basic internet. But you can get up to 5. Of course, there must be 1,000 pupils, no? So maybe 2,000 coming from DepEd, 1,000 sa provincial government, 1,000 sa barangay, 1,000 sa municipal. Sharing. May mga budget naman yan eh. But it's just management, political will, and logistics, which is money. So in your grade school compound, meron kang Wi-Fi, so magkano ang basic tablet? Siguro wala pang 5,000 pesos. That can be capitalized because how much are books now? Mahal na mga books, ha? But with the tablet, you can access to the books. That's what St. Paul's and Lasal are doing. And I think Ateneo is also planning. Xavier. So it's like innovative. Ang DepEd naman at saka CHED, innovative yan eh.
Sir, sisabanggit niyo na po yung paggamit ng internet sa edukasyon. What's your stand about Philippine ICT innovation?
Philippine?
ICT innovation. Information and Technology Innovation.
Communication. Information.
IT is already like
Sir,
IT, no? Information technology.
Information communication technology.
ICT. You're talking of the department?
No.
No.
Meron pong
Kasi merong CICT eh. Yung sa under the office of DOST now.
under DepEd din po siya, sir.
Under the Fed, I know CICT was under the office of the President. Nilipat sa Montejo, sa DOST. Some wanted to be a department, ayaw naman nila dahil magiging bureaucracy na naman, no? O another overhead.
I think in relation to that, I think the problem is not many of our legislators know even what's internet freedom. So this in relation to the law that was that was passed, a cybercrime. That's why it's unconstitutional. I think the legislators need to know more about ICT. So do you have any plans on that?
To me, internet is a human right.
Okay.
It's as human right as education or health or the right to happiness, the right to have fun, good clean fun. To me, internet is so pervasive. It affects all aspects of society, including netizens. No, so the internet is a human right and must be treated as such. It's as simple as that. So we want internet Wi-Fi sa lahat ng barangay. I mean, it used to be one of the things we were pushing years ago. But then it got grounded because of the scandal of the NBN ZTE. I'm always of the thinking that the telcos can handle the backbone quite handily and cost effectively. Dahil nandun na sila eh. Nandiyan ang PLDT Smart, nandiyan ang Globe, nandiyan ang Sun. They have more than one backbone. No? And the spine of a backbone can be other independent telephone companies or even cable TV companies or other, even the municipality can be a backbone, can be handling the distribution as in the States. No? There are towns that have their own Wi-Fi infrastructure that covers them, but the town pays for the broadband signal. Bayad sila ng broadband signal. Tagal na ito 2 hours yata.
Hindi pa 2 hours. Malapit na. No, but
Half an hour
we
pa.
really need your statement on the ICT because netizens are looking
On
for...
what aspect? On what aspect?
Because some will be voting based on your platform or advocacy on the ICT. So if you could spell out, maybe do you have a legislative agenda already in your mind?
We have to give incentives to private parties and public. So the most important is the dissemination of the signal. Time out.
Sige, just take a break. Baka makano ba dyan? Matamis.
Non-stop talking kasi ako.
That has happened. When we interviewed the candidate before, you know, he was coughing na after a while.
Seriously, no?
The president, candidate, I know. Na ano din,
Pagod na rin.
na-affect na
We
rin.
were in Quezon yesterday.
We did.
Helicopter.
Oh,
Pakibuksan mo nga, please. Sorry. Okay. Alright, Nani.
we were in ICT. You could just, if you have any plans already for a legislative agenda on that, on that issue.
I would look at ICT as a human right.
Yes.
ICT is Information and Communications Technologies. ICT. Information Communications Technology. And the reference of this is our access to the internet. It's important that we treat internet as a human right, just like clean air, the right to happiness, the right to have a decent life, the right to clean environment, the right to education. So internet is a good platform to enhance social cohesiveness in terms of tradition, culture, practices, the culture of the society. We must not be a bunch of tribes or families that will have their own thinking and tradition, but we must have a culture of Christian-based, loving society with common directions of improving, become a decent society and highly respected and trustworthy to the rest of the world. That we heads high because we are good Filipinos, we are world citizen. So going back to ICT, that can be the platform of social improvement and cohesiveness. And it must be as much as possible, if not free or subsidized, affordable. So the ICT main goal is to be able to allow access by even marginalized part.
The
Like,
digital dividing
yeah,
also.
yeah, the Bureau of Prisons, even the Lumads, the Itnegs, the Mangyans of Mindoro, the Cordilleras, that they have access to it. And you'll be surprised how it can make our society a more cohesive and more improved society, looking at love of country,
I like that.
being patriotic Filipinos, and not just like various tribes.
Have you seen the bill filed by Senator Miriam? It is the Magna Carta for Philippine Internet Freedom. Have you seen a copy
No,
of
I
that?
have not seen that. I have not seen that, but I'd like to have a copy of it so we can study it. And
Yeah, we will send it to you.
Yeah.
Because
I'll be very
that
happy.
will be refiled, and that was crowdsourced by netizens themselves. So this is one of the first bills that have netizens crowdsourced. So it's
So how
important.
long has it been there?
Oh, just like filed, I think December, or was it November? December. It was
last
just
month.
last December. And
I'd like to
Senator,
have a look at it.
it's really well crafted, much better than the cybercrime law.
What is the essence of the measure?
The essence, concerns rights, the governance, security. So it's all encompassing, not like because the cybercrime law just punishes. It
Makes,
doesn't really,
libel
yeah,
case.
it doesn't really punish the cyber criminals.
Well, the
I mean,
going to the cybercrime law, no?
Yeah.
Which is still under TRO. No?
yes,
indefinite.
good thing. That's a good sign.
It's a
actually.
good thing, but basically, we need a cybercrime law,
A real one.
a real one, because there is a lot of concern and worries about security of the person's
Definitely.
credit card,
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
your own ID, your own safety, and on privacy, no? The right to privacy. That's also a right. No? So what happened is the Senate version and the House version were already quite good, acceptable na sa netizens, no? And to everybody, even media, traditional media.
Yeah.
But then in the bicameral committee, something happened that the provision was inserted that spoiled the whole thing.
That's why. Yeah.
So it criminalizes libel further than what it should be.
So that's why the Magna Carta has 4 components: rights,
Yeah.
governance, development, and security. And I think it's more comprehensive than the existing cybercrime.
Well, I'd like to see it.
Yes.
To me, no law is better than a bad law, because a law that is crafted, a bill is, let's say, 100% desirable after public hearings and the inputs of netizens.
Yes.
But
I hope
during
it could,
the debates
Right.
and discussions, it changes. It metamorphoses into something more less liberal, but more strict. Now it's the implementation that some provisions will make it really hard for freedom-loving netizens. So it can work either way.
So you would want to repeal the cybercrime law and instead look into the Magna Carta for the Philippine Internet Freedom?
I have to look at the whole cybercrime law,
Yes.
because as I mentioned earlier, the earlier House and Senate version were already acceptable. But then when the BICAM measure was put together to put the compromise, some provisions were inserted that made spoil the whole law.
That's why
We can amend it.
Yeah.
We can amend it, yes.
amend or appeal. Anyway, if you support the Magna Carta and pass it, it will automatically repeal
There's a repeal
So,
clause.
yes, there's a
Pwede
repealing
yan.
clause. Yes. So that's my last question.
Hmm.
I'll bring it to Sunny.
I have a question, sir.
Yes.
What would be your
Do I look
program?
here? Do I look here?
No, it's okay as long as your voice is loud.
What would be your program for the small entrepreneurs, startup entrepreneurs? Kasi di ba sa ngayon, our society is an employee-generating nation. So how do we tilt the balance and create wealth from the scratch?
Well, we have had a lot of laws on SMEs, small and medium enterprise. Now, the definition of small is business up to 15 million pesos. Less the land, cost of the land. The medium is from 15 million up to, I think, 60 million. During my time, maybe that has increased already to 100 million. How do we encourage startups like small and medium enterprise? The number one important thing is to lessen the requirements. Because when you go into business, there's so many red tapes and permits that after 3 months, hindi ka pa tapos na.
That's true.
I've gone through that many times, and I've been saying that we just have a bunch of bureaucrats who want to make life difficult for businessmen.
Since you all gusto nyo, sir, may
Simplifying.
one-stop shop.
Pwedeng one-stop shop.
You heard that
Pero
one?
nangyari yan sa Silay City, sa Negros, Occidental. Si Mayor Oti Montelibano has a one-stop shop. Nandun na yung DTI, nandun na yung DNR, Bureau of Customs, Bureau of Internal Revenue, nandun na lahat ng bureaucracy. And they're supposed to approve each permit within 15 days. So that has become a model in Western Visayas, Region 6. Si Mayor Oti Montelibano of Silay City. And I think they should look at that. So the thing is to just simplify, make life easier for investors and startups who after all are taking risks to put up a business. Risk capital yan. Number two, we have a law that, SME law that sets aside at that time, I think 10 or 8% of the total loanable portfolio of all the banking system, all the banks in the Philippines. Local, foreign, rural banks, 10%. To them, to small and medium enterprise. Mukhang hindi na masyadong nag-guide ng Bangko Sentral. Dahil even borrowing for a car, they say it's part of the SME law. Personal naman yun, kotse. So, yun lang yun lang. Pero I think the banks are doing very well now. They're very supportive. That's low cost of money. Now we need also, I mentioned earlier, yung SWF fund, Sovereign Wealth Fund. As an example, in China, I think from the last time I saw it a couple of months ago, their Sovereign Wealth Fund is $600 billion. And Norway also has about the same, 600 billion euro. Norway is more Norway. What's Norway's population? Not even 8 million. But Norway is considered now one of the top countries when it comes to innovation in technology. So that fund will be a group of people, maybe some PhDs, MBAs, venture capitalists, bankers, enterprisers, like Tato Banatao, or Paco Sandejas, or even Vicky Gachitorena for social economic initiatives. They put themselves together, even heads of private colleges and universities, they put themselves, and in their region, they will identify. Hindi naman yung mga bibigyan mo lamang. Siguro yung tao, nandun siya mga 3 or 4 years. Tumaya na siya, and niligyan niya ng kapital, ng SWF, he will buy in. Huh? He will not lend. He
Yeah.
will become a stockholder, which means that tumaya rin siya. Like, I'm betting on you that you will go up. And this happened many times in China. You know Huawei. Huawei is one of the most successful startups past 20 years, which
this brand?
overtook Cisco
This one,
for
I'm using it.
internet.
Huawei.
Huawei.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Huawei.
Kala
This
ko
is my
naka-iPhone
modem
ka.
na. This is my
Yeah.
modem.
Huawei
Yeah.
is the example of SWF. He was a colonel in the farm in the China's army, People's Army, and China People's Army in Huawei. And he started developing electronics engineer yata. After a while, he started growing,
20 years.
and SWF funded him, and he became very competitive. Tinatalo niya ang Cisco at saka Alcatel, yung mga telcos. That's Huawei. Funded by the SWF.
Huawei now is doing the cables for Globe.
For Globe and even Smart,
Ah, okay. Wow.
PLDT. Yan ang kalaban ng NBN, GT. Yung dalawa, they're the top. But I think Huawei particularly is a good example of the SWF.
I'm impressed with your techiness.
Now, if you're looking at Globe, it's partly owned by Singtel. Singtel was started up by Temasek of Singapore. It's one of the startups.
Sir, sa labor code na, would you be introducing some changes, especially yung restrictive aspect ng regularization, para bang walang elbow room ang mga ngalakhan in terms of adjusting to the global environment? Or would you agree that the current labor code is too left-leaning in the sense that it protects too much the workers at the expense of the investors?
Well, right now, Sunny, the law, the labor code, addresses some form of exploitation, injustice, dealing with our labor force, our society. And itong administration na ito mukhang liberalized naman. No? But sometimes the law is used to make it difficult for business people. So to me, ang importante dyan yung what do they provide in terms of probation, on the job training, probation, casuals, and also safety net. If you look at the countries of Europe, especially the Scandinavian countries, kanyan, malaki ang kanilang progress into having enlightened labor. Germany, even labor is represented in the board. So tayo naman, parang confrontational. So we have to change the attitude of labor dahil our fastest growing economy, part of the economy is IT, BPO, information technology, business process outsourcing. Yan it's hitting already almost 800,000, no? Almost 1 million. 800,000 seats. This is not only call centers, but also medical transcriptions, banking, back process, and also engineering and accounting, no? Daming services. So none of them are labor members kasi mga educated. They just want to be working with the, let's say, with convergence. American Express. They're well treated as professionals, English speaking, smart, IT oriented. So labor should look at all these developments and try to broaden the cooperation between labor unions and the owners of business. Otherwise, lilipat ang negosyo. They go to another country. So I think the DOLE is very much aware of this. In the 70s, we had more than 500,000 garment and textile manufacturing sector for export. But there was a militant move by some labor unions that unnerved the garment sector, so they transferred to other countries like China. Now I understand that the garment sector, some of them want to come back. Dahil mahal lang China eh.
Oo nga,
As much as 20,000 pesos a month equivalent. At saka may mga labor unrest. So the Japanese factories and others are afraid. Also the issue of IPO, intellectual property
Nga ni
theft,
copy.
yung piracy.
Yeah.
So dito hindi sila masyadong kabado dahil we have basically a good legal system. Basically, can be improved. So going back to labor, the confrontational should be lessened and the cooperation should be lessened for a win-win situation. Kasi kung umalis ang kapital, wala naman eh.
Pag pinlip natin, sir, on another side, another angle. Kasi di ba recently it was on the news na only a few families, I think 40 families own the capital, the wealth of the country.
Yeah.
So what will be your program now to somehow elevate this and equalize yung distribution of wealth? Yung oligarch economy and politics, paano siya ma-neutralize?
Well, yung economic end, kasi parang franchising yan. Kung ang isang pamilya naging dynastic ang orientation, kanyan, magkakaroon ng oligarchical, no? Parang family oriented, parang tribalism na, parang mga warlord. Not warlords, but lords. Not necessarily war, no? But they control the economy because of most of them are in a certain place. No? They control the political. When you control the political, you control others. Because the political have some kind of perks and power to implement policies their way. Not the right way, but their way. To lessen that, you need a good leadership, not only from the president's point of view, but Congress. So, anti-monopoly siguro. Anti-monopoly and just empowering young startups and spending. So I don't know how to answer that particularly, but it's again a cultural, traditional, family-oriented society that we have. So the competence and the fitness of others should come forward, not to be sentimental about it. During the time of the late President Magsaysay, he never practiced dynastic. It was only after he died in a plane crash that my uncle Henaro ran for public office as congressman in 1957. But he built up a lot of cadres like Raul Manglatos, I mentioned, Manny Manahan, J.B. Cruz, and Tony Villegas was one of those. PCAP, Anti-Graft Commission. And then 2001 is the chairman of NPC. And a good one that really was harnessed by other administration was Rafael Salas. Time Salas, you've heard of Time Salas. So marami siyang cadre of students, 25, 26 years old, when he brought into government to help him out. He had the energy. After all, he was a young president, he was 46. When he was a young Secretary of Defense, he was 43, 42. So he depended a lot of young colonels sa military.
I'll have to pack up because we're told to leave by 12.
Oh. You've been asked to leave?
Yeah, because the second seating is at 12.
Second.
Seating.
Ah,
Seating. There's a
ito.
batch here for this table.
Meron na.
Customer.
Reservation.
Yeah. Anyway,
Oh.
anyway, 2 hours na naman.
Well, you can come back for more if you want.
Yeah.
Something more, maybe we're just getting to know each other, learning about Twitter. And it's a
Yes.
pleasure, no? I'm
Wait.
getting to enjoy it. I might
I'm not
start
yet done.
talking ad infinitum.
I'm not yet done.
Oh,
We have
Noemi.
one more thing. We have
Noemi.
this pledge of commitment.
One goal.
Yeah, like it basically talks of what things that you could do when
Kasi
you're
Jem.
when you're already elected. Like sponsor a bill for the
Oh.
repeal of the cybercrime law.
Oh,
Another is a review of the Data Privacy Act
yeah.
and support or co-sponsor the Magna Carta of Internet Freedom. You don't need to sign it yet, but you can read it with your lawyer.
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you for that. So it's around 10 things that you can look, and one of them is also actively use social media to connect with, reply, and report to constituents and citizens on the performance of your duties and abiding by election law. Hopefully you're not EPAL. Have you heard of EPAL news from June Magsaysay? Parang wala eh. Walang EPAL.
Hindi siya Apple eh.
Very good. So at least we can tweet that.
I believe in the internet.
Okay.
No need for these big billboards. Pero it worked, ah. Nung
Which
araw, ang lalaki ng billboards, oh. Yung sa Apple.
Talaga it works,
Yung
ha?
mga malalaki sa SLEX, sa NLEX. Ngayon wala na masyado.
It's a
Wala
good
na.
thing you are not violating the... So anyway, take a look at that. I'll
I'll
get
take
back
a
to
look.
you and we will get it from you. We are giving it to all the candidates.
So, thank you very much, Noemi, Rose, Menchi, Jem.
Oh, galing ang
Amin.
memory, oh.
Sana.
Galing,
Sa-
reading.
Reading.
Yeah, in
Pero,
back, yeah.
going back to old age, because that is to me, I welcome old age, eh. But I
That's
was
true.
once young, like you. Young, good looking and restless. Now I'm old, better looking and still restless. But to me, I embrace, it's nature. Everybody gets there. What is important is, how can you serve your country? How can you help society become a better society? And how effective can you be? And the basis of effectiveness is what I have done in my 12 years in the Senate, the laws that we have passed during my time, and what I did for love of country. And in the private sector.
Teka, hindi pa tayo tapos. I would just like to close in behalf of Vlog Watch. Really enjoyed your talk, and people on Twitter they were following you. They say that you're so techie in spite of your age. You know, the age thing.
I'm techie.
Yeah, I know. And they were all talking about your background that you pioneered in cable, so they know
Yeah.
that
Cable
you-
is the original broadband.
Yes,
Huh?
that's true.
It's the original broadband. It was analog, but now
Yeah.
broadband is digital. What's the difference? Don't ask me. It will take another 30
Yes,
minutes.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, Sunny, anong